So he keeps starting over. So that's one clue for you that you're going to struggle financially. But also you can see he probably has a problem with authority. And every time someone gets on his nerves or offends him, he doesn't have a thick enough skin to submit. Even you could have a bad boss or a bad manager, but you can still practice godly honor and submission in a way to get the job done, even if they're not an honorable person.
So that's a good one. Like if he can't keep a job and he's the kind of person that always looking for the angle and somebody's intent towards him, or always complaining that it's the man, it's the system, it's this, and he
keeping
never
him down,
somebody's always keeping him down, nobody getting him a chance. It's hard in these streets, and he's never looking inwardly to himself and saying, what is it about me? And if he's not on a journey to always self-improve himself and learn and educate himself, then I might not be the one you want to be with.
Yeah, if he's always looking to circumvent the system. Let's say he's like, I'm an entrepreneur, but is he an entrepreneur or is he a hustler? Is he trying to find a way to dodge paying taxes? Is he trying to find a way to dodge the system and do things underhanded? Like there's a way you're supposed to set up a storefront, but he's afraid of the responsibility of the accountability because it leaks into every area of life.
It does.
Submission is not just spiritually strictly like, okay, God and pastors and stuff like that. It leaks in every area of life. People with a submission problem don't even like setting up their businesses properly.
That's true.
They don't like having to pay taxes. They don't like having to, if there's a lot of rules about how you're supposed to run your business, like you're a restaurant, you're selling food, it's like, well, that takes too much work. I'm going to just do it out of my house.
I don't know anyone who loves paying taxes. No one likes paying taxes, but Jesus paid his taxes because you got to honor the rules and regulations of the land that you're in, whether they're fair or unfair. It's the name of the game. So do things honorably and be honorable.
Is he obsessed with get rich quick schemes?
Yeah.
Is he constantly bringing you?
Let God favor you.
That happens a lot. Men will come, they'll start dating and, hey, give me $100 and I'm gonna flip it and I'll get you back $1,000 soon. Well, where's your own $100 to do it with? You do it and then give me some money to shop with. Like show me that this works. But you always have these get rich quick schemes. Again, it's not. It all points back to a lack of submission, a lack of attention and honor of authority of any kind in his life. And he's constantly blaming authority figures. If he spends his life talking bad about the president or the ruler of your country, that's just what he does constantly, as if what someone is doing in the government and high-level government is affecting the minutest details of their lives. That's a problem too.
The problem is that we do have a very few people or percentage of people that live that way and it seemed to work out for them. So we try to model our lives and say, well, it worked for so-and-so and look how they are today. Well, listen, people gamble and there are people who've gambled and made a lot of money gambling, but that is not a stable way of living.
It is not.
And the percentage of people who gambled and walked away with a suitcase full of money is very, very, very small.
You're my girl. You're the type of woman to make a man get right. You're my world. You keep my mind spinning all through the night.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Family, friends. We are here. Today is Wednesday, the 11th.
Yep.
Correct? Yep. The 11th. And we're so happy that you decided to take your time and join us this morning. We have a very different topic, I would say, to talk about today, but it's all in alignment with relationships, marriage, and having a plan and a vision. And I guess we're kind of sharing a little bit of our plan and vision this morning in the lights of business. But before we do that, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor today, and that is Audible. You know, we talk about Audible a lot here because we love Audible. Audible was a very crucial key in our marriage back in the beginning because we love to read books. Well, you love to read books, but I love to listen to books. So we found a compromise, and Audible has given our viewers and listeners a 30-day free trial. If you go to audibletrial.com/Jayla and Casey, you can get a 30-day free trial of Audible. One of the books that we're recommending this week is Sheet Music, which we read and listened to help grow our marriage in the early days. So go ahead right now and get that free trial. If you don't have Audible, sorry for those of you who did miss this opportunity, but you will love it. So again, that's audibletrial.com/Jayla and Casey to get your 30-day free trial today. And I'm doing all the talking at the front end because a lot of this is going to be Jalen, because he is the numbers guy for our company. He's the number guy, the paperwork guy. I am the talent, the cute one.
She's the on camera. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I do all that stuff. So let's get into this because I'm excited, and I'll jump in.
Yeah. Well, I got an interesting question for everyone today. What do you do for work? What do you do for a living? What is your career?
Yeah.
Drop that in the chat. We usually ask where you're watching from, what time it is. Today, I have a different question. What do you do? And
like, what is your 9 to 5?
Yeah. And then what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Is there something more that you want to do? Because today we're talking a little bit about financial freedom. All right. So, you hear that word tossed around a lot, and there is no shortage of financial gurus on social media, YouTube. People showing you how to get out of debt. People showing you how to invest. People showing you how to make money. People showing you how to make money online. Side hustles, 7 streams of income, all these different things. And all that's fine. But we have a training coming up later this month about creating a plan for your marriage, creating a marriage plan. And so before we do that training, and we'll talk about it a little bit later with more people on the stream. We'll show you the advertisement for it and how you can join up and everything. But we want to help you, get you thinking in today's broadcast about where you want to go. Where do you see your family in 10 years? Even if you're single and you're like, hey, maybe you just want to stay single, or you want to get married, but you still have goals and you want to set yourself up for success. There's nothing stopping you from growing as much as you can, both naturally and spiritually, financially and physically. You can grow in all types of ways before marriage. And so where do you want to set yourself up for success? Who do you want to match yourself with if you're going to get married? So drop it in the chat. Tell me what you do, because we're going to talk about business, work, and we're going to talk about making money online.
Fatality says, good morning, Fatality. You said slave work.
Exactly what? Do we need to call the government on this one? Because I believe that's illegal for a little while.
Slave work. And Cozy Crochet, she says, I want to have my own yarn store or my own hand-dyed yarn. I can see you definitely having that. Talking about...
well, why are you saying that? I want to throw this out. I am a patient care technician, and I work nights. That's Daughter of God 28. Okay. You work nights. All right, cool. I like that. We'll talk about that.
We are consumers. Most people are consumers. And I'm going to say it like this. Most broke people are consumers. We consume content, we consume food, we consume clothes, we consume everything. We purchase, we keep the economy rolling, but we never ever invest in said economy. We never invest in what consumers consume. We never think that way. A lot of us don't think that we are capable of doing that because we don't have the education. I don't think I'm good enough, smart enough. I don't have a good idea. Like, I don't know what to do. What can I do to be part of the world's economy? What can I do? A lot of us feel like we don't have anything, but that's not true. Everyone has something to do. We talk about the parables of the talents. The Lord gave some 1 5, 1 2, and 1 1. Now you look at that, you might say, well, it looks a little bit imbalanced, but it just shows that everybody has something.
Amen.
It may not be in the same measure, but everybody has something that can produce and multiply. When he came back to the one who just buried his talent, who just took the money that he gave him and just put it in the ground, he was like, oh, you slothful and wicked servant. You're slothful when you don't do what God called you to do. You're wicked when you're not obedient. He was expecting increase from the one that had the one, because it is possible. A lot of times we get ourselves so wide-eyed looking at others that seem to be so multi-talented and doing all these things and say, well, I don't measure up to them. You're right. You don't measure up to them. But it doesn't mean you don't have a measure. It doesn't mean you don't have a measure. And you're so busy looking at somebody else's measure and you're not paying attention to yours. Therefore, you're not able to grow and develop and produce and to multiply, because the mandate to multiply is on all mankind. And we're not just talking about having babies, but multiplication is part of who God is. And we're creating this image. Therefore, we have the same ability to multiply. So what is in your hands that you have yet to multiply? Okay. And if you talk to the average person that people may deem as talented, whatever, you would know most of them have a lot of issues. Like, man, I didn't think I was great. I just got up and did something. I tried, or I listened to the voice of God and I obeyed and I did it, and it grew into something. Most of us don't think that we have all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we're just consistent and we keep moving forward.
Exactly. Daughter of God, you said that you were a care technician. Are you doing what it is that you want to do? Is this your dream work? Is this what you were pushing for? Or is there something beyond that you're going for? I want to know what your goals are. Cozy, you mentioned that you want to have a yarn store and have your own hand-dyed yarn. What steps are you taking to get there?
And then she also she said, I think Vonell will be good at having a game cafe.
Yeah. Oh, and Daughter of God also, thank you for sending us that, Rose. We do appreciate it. Oh, let me just clear everybody. Super chat goes for all platforms or stars, whatever you're doing on any platform. You send in the gift goal that we have set on the platforms. You get to choose our next topic. Okay. So next topic that we talk about on Jalen Casey Show, you get to choose if you meet our goal. So thrown out there for everybody. All right. So yeah, again, keep everybody in the chat. The standing question is this: what do you do now? And what is it that you want to be doing? You know, what is your goal? What is your dream? When we first got married, everything was financially tight for us. That's no secret. We talk about that. But we always had a vision. We talked about this before we got married. We always had a dream and a vision, a plan for, we wanted to be doing something different from where we started. Yeah. You know, you were a cosmetologist, I was working sales, but even with you working in the beauty industry and even working in sales, there was something beyond where we were that we wanted to go. And we were already on the way there before we got married. We were people that were productive and in motion, and that attracted us to each other. So we believed in productivity. It was just, we need to get somewhere. And we believed that coming together, being married, we could do that better than we could alone. Yeah. And we did. And we progressed. We immediately began to progress. Immediately, as I got with you and we started getting married, started progressing on my job, and you will push me to press, and I jumped on and started helping you with your business, and we went through several changes in life. You had to close your business. I started a business, had to close it. We went through all these different changes, but we were always progressing, looking to the next thing. And you got to have that mentality and that attitude. All right. But one thing that we knew ultimately was that we wanted to work together in whatever we did. Yeah. You and I side by side. We were good at that. We just got along very well with working together. We did well in ministry and all that we did. And that long after we got married, we got online. We were live streaming on Facebook, actually. Was what we would
Periscope? Do. Who remembers Periscope?
Oh, Periscope. We used to do Periscope. For those who don't remember, that was Twitter's live streaming service. Yeah. Didn't last very long, but we used to do Periscope. So we would get online and we would talk like we do now. And we did that like a couple weeks after we get married. And we would just talk about the word. We weren't necessarily teaching marriage. We had just gotten married, but we would talk about the word and about the blessing and all that. And then, for ministry, we'd open up our home and talk to couples. And we realized we enjoyed helping people. And we've had notebooks full of ideas of business names. And sometimes we'll go back and talk about those things and be like, yeah, we still want to do that. But we just had ideas. And it always came back to a few things: helping people, teaching people, helping people achieve their dreams, helping people be independent financially, all that.
Who they are.
Yeah, their purpose, helping them walk in the blessing, discipling people to fall after Jesus. These were all like the common denominators in everything that we did. And again, in the training that we're going to talk about later, we're doing this later this month, we're going to teach you how to do that. But we would do this. We would just lay these things out. And it became clear to us that me being outside the home, working a 9-to-5 was not our goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her, even though she was a hairstylist, her having to stand behind the chair 8 to 10 hours at a time, working with her hands, that was not the end goal for her.
For sure not.
Yeah. And even when we were planning to have children before we had our son, not that there was anything wrong being a stay-at-home mom or anything like that, but we also knew that Casey just being home, taking care of children while I'm out doing something else, and that just be our lives 20, 30 years was not the plan. It may be a season, a phase, but that wasn't the end game. The end game for us was always similar to what we're doing now, which is us working together, teaching, helping, and using the internet to do it. We always wanted to be in person, we get hands-on with people, but we also wanted to use the online as well to reach people all over the world.
Yeah, you got to understand that part of my prayer before I got married was that, God, I want you to use my marriage on whatever platform you saw fit. And I had no idea that YouTube or Instagram or social media was going to be the platform. I used to think that, I used to think my husband was going to be a barber. Before I knew Jalen was my husband. I used
Yeah.
to think that my husband was going to be a barber, and him and I would just, dominate the beauty industry and open salons and have chains and product and all that kind of stuff. That was my original idea, but that's not the case right now. Now, that doesn't mean that we still can't have that. He's not going to be a barber. At the end of the day, when we started on YouTube and Periscope and Facebook Lives at the time, we did not come into this thinking that we're going to minister the gospel and make money. Like it's always been a ministry for us, and it will continue to always be a ministry for us. And it's God before anything else. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's God before anything else. But here's the thing: God is not requiring us to be poor. He's not requiring us to be broke. It takes resources to do what we do every single day. There's cameras, there's lights, there's software, there's programs, there's apps, there's the time that we're taking doing this. We spend 2 hours every other day online. That's 2 hours that you could be outside doing, some other job or whatever. So we're taking time, we have equipment, all those things, and we need to increase in those things as well. It takes time. And we say time is money. It is true. Time is money. Why not make money while you're doing what God is calling you to do? Why not?
Well, you have to, because if you don't, then you're not going to continue to do it.
And
Even if you go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to say it while I still
Yeah,
in my head.
yeah.
Is that the reason why most Christians feel funny about that? Because we've been taught that money is a demon. Like, it's bad to have money. Don't get too rich. Only have enough to take care of your stuff, but don't have enough. And that's goes against the word of God.
And I'll find the scripture right now.
Because we have to have more than enough, because if you only have enough for yourself, how are you going to help somebody else? How are you going to help your neighbor? How are you going to increase the kingdom? It takes resources. Now, in our economy, it's money. All right. It's the currency that we have. But if it was chickens, if it was cows, if it was paper, if it was something else, that's what we would have to have as a currency. Money is not evil. The Bible says the love of money. When we serve money, the love of money is the root of all evil. When you're pursuing it the world's way, when you're pursuing it the mammon way, the way, the toiling way. You have a whole lesson on getting off the toil system and getting on the blessing system.
Yeah, and we've done it once on the broadcast. I'll probably do it again coming up soon. But I'm just going to read the scripture to back up what you're saying. So Paul was the one that said the love of money rules all kinds of evil, and you pierce yourself through with many sorrows. So Paul said that. Paul also said this. God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that you, always having all sufficiency in all things, may have an abundance. So that's more than enough for every good work. As it is written, he has dispersed abroad, he has given to the poor, his righteousness endures forever. Okay. So he said, as it is written, and he says that passage. Well, who is he talking about, and where is that written? Like, sometimes you gotta think the next step through. Paul is referencing something here. The passage he's referencing is the 112th Psalm. And I'm pulling that up right now. So stay with me, and then we're going to jump back to the chat, and then we're going to continue here. This is the full passage that Paul is referencing. Now, remember, Paul was a Pharisee. He was a lawyer. He knew the law in and out. He knew the sacred books in and out. So when he pulls a piece of Psalm 112, he knows the entire thing. All right. Praise the Lord. Blessed is the man who fears the Lord, who delights greatly in his commandments. So this is a righteous man. He delights in the law of the Lord. His descendants will be mighty on the earth. His generation will be blessed. All right. That sounds like generational wealth to me. We toss that word around.
Yep.
So this is what Paul is referencing. He's saying that this is the God's able to make all grace abound toward, and this person becomes this kind of person. Wealth and riches shall be in his house. Ooh.
I receive.
Interesting.
I receive.
The same Paul who said that those who love money, that's the root of all kind of evil, you're piercing yourselves through many sorrows, is also confidently with his chest referencing this psalm that talks about wealth and riches being in your house. Watch this. Wealth and riches will be in his house, and his righteousness endures forever. So there is a righteousness that is intact and enduring even while you have wealth and riches in your house. Unto this person, the upright, there arises light in the darkness. He is gracious and full of compassion and righteous. This man deals graciously and he lends. And Deuteronomy talks about being the lender and not the borrower. Okay, so this is someone who has enough money to give to somebody else. There is someone else without need, and they have enough to take care of or to provide or to help them begin an enterprise. This man will guide his affairs with discretion. So he's got a business mind. He will never be shaken. And you're like, oh, what does that mean? That means that when financial ups and downs and market changes are happening, there are people who exist in this world who aren't shaken when the market goes up and down.
Yep.
They know how to take advantage of it. Surely he will never be shaken. This righteous person will be an everlasting remembrance. He will not be forgotten. So his name is going to be great. That's the blessing that God put on Abraham. I will make your name great. He will not be afraid of evil tidings, bad news. There's some of us, we watch the news, we watch the market go down, we watch gas prices go up, and we get afraid. But this man is so rich and his trust is in God that he is not afraid when he hears the bad news. His heart is steadfast. Why? Because it trusts in the Lord. Not because he trusts in his money, but he trusts in the Lord. He doesn't love money. He loves God. His heart is established. He will not be afraid until he sees his desire upon his enemies. It's like, well, I don't have any enemies. Well, you might actually. But have you thought about the enemies of debt and lack and hunger and poverty? This man has dispersed abroad. And this is what Paul is referencing. He has given to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. His horn or his strength will be exalted with honor. All right. So what we're seeing here, what Paul's referencing, because he's referencing this entire passage, is there's a man who has so much he's giving to others. There's a man who has so much that when things go crazy in the market, he's not shaken. He has stability. He has financial stability, but he loves God. He doesn't love money. See, when we look at the passage when Paul said, love of money, root of all evil, we immediately think of rich people. And Paul does, in that passage, talk against and say, these are the people who are handling things wrong with a lot of money. But guess what? You can love money and be poor.
Yeah.
You could be chasing it.
Yeah.
You could be trusting in riches so that when gas prices go up, you freak out. Why? Because you love money. You're chasing it. You're pursuing it. And Paul says there is a man who is righteous, who trusts God instead of money, and wealth of riches are in his house, and he has enough to help everyone else who is not stable. And that should be a desire because this man's generations are blessed. He has generational wealth, and his children's children don't have to concern themselves. A good man storeth up an inheritance for his children's children. So you got to bring all the Bible together to connect to see what it all means or what God wants for you.
So some people in the chat is asking for the scripture reference. Can you get that
Yes.
out again?
So it was 2 Corinthians 9:6, where Paul was talking about, 6-15, he talks about giving. And he's talking to the church in Corinth. 2 Corinthians 9:6-15 brings you down, and he's referencing Psalm 112.
Okay.
And Psalm 112, the entire chapter is explaining this righteous man who is both wealthy but also righteous.
Okay, awesome sauce.
All right, we had somebody that was also saying what they did. That was Mighty Spirit 7. Said, I pastor in church in Senegal, and I do evangelical missions in the villages. God bless you. In my country. I love financial abundance to be able to do more of the gospel and for people. I teach on YouTube as well. You have the right mentality. That's what we just talked about. That's a Psalm 112 man who wants to help people. That's not a man that loves money. This is a man that wants to preach the gospel and lend to the poor. All right. What did Cody say? She wants to build a platform, fellowshipping with entrepreneurs in the market, learning yarn composition and the chemical process of dyeing yarn. That's someone with a business mind. Again, you're growing. I want you to be excited. I'm asking y'all to kind of think and to put out there what you're doing, because I want you to realize that this is an element of righteousness. Yeah. This is the element of God's way of doing things. If you have expansion, you're trying to expand in the way that you think. You're trying to learn more. We're going to talk about this, but you mentioned we consume. All of us interact with the financial market, usually on the consumer level. So, Cozy, if you're buying yarn, you're communicating in this industry, but you're looking beyond what's in your hand and saying, how was this done? How can I learn how to do this? How can I learn about where this came from before it got into my hands? And those are the people. That is what it means to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Someone who wants more than to just consume, but to also produce. And you should always be interested in the things that you are consuming and interacting with, especially the internet. My first says, hi, Jalen Casey. My name is Tatiana Mendy. I've been watching you from Senegal for 2 years at least. I believe God wants us prosperous so we can help more people and be free to preach the gospel. 100% yes. Because in that passage that Paul was talking about, 2 Corinthians 9, he was talking about giving so that there will be an abundance for the people to go and preach the gospel. Because he was instructing the church of Corinth, get your offering together because the people are coming, the preachers are coming, and you need to provide them an offering so they can go back out and preach the gospel. So you're exactly 100% correct. We gave you the references. Yep, there we go. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 9 and Psalm. Well, oh, and Cozy, that's Psalm 112, not Psalm chapter 1, verse 12. It's Psalm 112, the entire chapter. I realize I always say it as 112, but it's 112. The entire chapter is what that is. All right, let me go to TikTok. Thank you for the heart me's from Mama Mark and Big Luxury. Let's see what's going on in the chat. We're going to be very interactive in the chat today because I really want y'all to hear what y'all got to say today. Mama Mark saying, may I serve God with my husband? Amen. Some people have been sharing lives. Thank you. And the question that I'm saying to everybody in all the chats is this: what do you do now for work? Your 9 to 5. And also, what is it that you want to do? What is your dream? What is your business? All right. And if you came to this live, then the thing that you saw, the title was How to Make Money Online 2026.
And I don't want people to get overwhelmed because some of y'all got some really big ideas and dreams that God put in you. And it can seem almost overwhelming, like, God, how in the world am I going to get this done in my lifetime?
Yep.
Because it's so big. And again, a lot of you may be wondering because I don't have the education.
Yep.
I don't know anything about this, or I don't have the resources, the money right now. This is where you go before God and you get the plan. Now, we're going to talk about this in our next members live.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and bring that up real quick. Channel memberships, usually we talk about this a little bit later, but so you guys know what we're referencing, and we'll talk about it again later, but we do have channel memberships here on YouTube and on Facebook. It is subscriptions. This is how it works. It's $2.99 a month. And basically what we do is we do marriage trainings, relationship trainings every single month. The next one is on March 26th. It's called Build Your Marriage Plan. And what we've realized is that marriage is a lot like a business. Mm-hmm. And just like if you're going to start a business, a corporation, an LLC, whatever, you've got to have a business plan. You got to have a mission statement. You got to have a vision. Where we're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. What are our revenue goals? And you got to do the same thing for your marriage. It's like, really? Yeah. What are our goals? And I don't just mean like, okay, how much money are we going to make in 5 years? But what are we going to produce for the kingdom? How many souls are we winning to the kingdom? How are we going to serve in our church better? Our church has certain goals and they need volunteers. How are we going to help our church grow? How many people are we going to bring into the congregation of the righteous? How are we going to touch some other people's lives? How are we going to volunteer in our community? We have business ideas. How are we going to launch those things? These things you got to talk about. If you don't talk about it, if you don't put it on paper, you'll never get it done.
It won't get done.
Scripture talks about that. Write that vision, make it plain so that he that readeth it may take it and run. And we were good about that early in our marriage, whether it be vision boards, whether it be packets, whether it be slideshows. We would write down what we were doing, and then we'd go back and review at the end of the year and say, did we accomplish it? What are our goals for next year? What do we need to tweak? So we want to teach you how to get intentional in your marriage. It's great for people who just before they get married, or if you've been married for years, but you want to know how to organize and build a marriage plan, a vision, so that 10 years from now, you've accomplished more with your family, with your children. And you got to plan everything, man. You got kids. All right. What's schooling look like for them? Do you want them in public school? Do you want them have it private? We're going to save money for that. You got to plan all these things. And so we're going to show you how to make a mission statement, a vision for your marriage, how to put it all on paper. So that's what we're doing March 26th, 7 p.m. exclusive to our channel members on YouTube and our subscribers on Facebook. It is $2.99 a month. Cozy, if you drop that link in the chat so that people can sign up if they're interested. And you also get access to these trainings because all the trainings are archived every month. So we've got the singles training, God Make Me a Wife. We got the age gap survival guide. We got the death to pornography cinematic podcast. We got the reignite sexual intimacy virtual event we did. We had the eye to eye communication training we did. Every month, new trainings, and all these previous trainings are there archived for you for all of our members. So we encourage you to sign up. Again, the next training is going to be on March 26th. That's a Thursday at 7 p.m. So what we're talking about today kind of ties into that a little bit, but we are going to talk a little bit more specifically today about how to make money online.
That, I just want to continue to say that, don't get overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Allow God to lead your path. Yep. Because when we first started Jaylen Casey, YouTube, like I said, we started on Periscope, we started on Facebook Lives. We didn't really have a plan at the time. Nope. Like we didn't know exactly how it was going to look, but we just committed that, okay, once a week, we're going to get up here and just share the gospel. We're going to share what we learned in church today. We're going to talk about some stuff. And I don't think initially we started with the idea of let's talk about marriage stuff.
No. That came further down, like 2018.
We just started talking about, what we learned in church.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it was the abiding word. The
abiding word principle.
The abiding word principle that was being taught. And we began to teach that share that because it was changing our lives so much. And then it just rolled into, because we were newlyweds at the time, and we talk about newlywed struggles, and we're like, you know what? If we're dealing with this, I'm sure other people are dealing with this as well, and they're not talking about it. Because we didn't see a lot of podcasts out there talking about marriage, especially from the perspective of newlywed.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of veteran people out there, but newlywed struggles. And that's where it all started.
Yep.
And now here we are today.
Yeah.
What, 7, 8 years later, doing this. And we have some other things coming up really soon in the near future that's a spoke from all of this.
Yeah.
It's an expansion from this. A lot of it is not in the relationship space, but we would have never even grown to that if we didn't start.
Well, passion usually precedes planning, which is fine.
Yeah.
But your passions let you know, like, you got to put guardrails around it. It says, without a vision, people perish. Another translation says, without a vision, people cast off restraint.
Yeah.
And so if you have a passion but no vision, or put it like this, you could have a vision, but you still got to put boundaries and guardrails to get you there. And that's what a plan is. A plan is the protection for your vision so that it actually gets done. Because a dream deferred makes the heart sick. That's also a problem. I'm going to hit a lot of Proverbs today. Proverbs is great for financial prosperity. So if you never fulfill your dream, you'll end up being on your job just feeling like, I'm stuck. I can't do what I want to do. Yeah. I'm not growing. I'm a slave to it. Fatala said, it's slave work. It feels that way because you're stuck and someone else is dominating your time. But here's what you got to realize. And it also can help you change the way you look at your job and not hate it so much is you are a part of somebody else's vision. The fact that you have a job, the fact you have a salary, healthcare, whatever, don't despise it. Yes, there is an element of we get stuck and it puts you in chains, but understand that you are living off of the fruit of someone else's vision. Someone else had an idea. Someone else had a vision, and it built up to the point where it could afford to help employ other people. That itself is lending to the poor. You immediately think of someone homeless on the street, but you got to understand, when you provide employment, work for somebody who needs it, you understand that you are actually improving not just the economy, but the world, because you're giving someone food to eat through employment. And your vision is big enough to feed other people. And sometimes that's where we hold up as entrepreneurs. We have great ideas, we got passion, but we don't have a plan, and we get stopped at the point where it requires us to get help. We're willing to put the risk on ourselves, but we're afraid to employ somebody else because we're afraid of taking the risk of somebody else and failing and that being on us and them blaming us. But you'll never break through that barrier as an entrepreneur if you're never willing to expand that far. But that's where true wealth is, because true wealth is in, like Psalm 12 is talking about, lending to others being able to eat from the tree of what you have produced. If you have enough fruit that it's abundant, that other people can eat from it, you have created a true business there. So let's talk about doing it online, which is the title of this thing. And again, think about what it is that you're doing. If you're joining on the chat, let us know what is it that you do and what is it that you want to do. And we're going to talk about online because you probably see it everywhere. You see these gurus and you don't know which ones are legit, which ones are fake. There's a lot of fake ones. I hate the blogs that say 10 ways to make money online. And one of the first ones is start a YouTube channel. And it's like, no, if you're trying to, we'll put it like this, for side hustles. If you want a side hustle to make a little extra cash, don't start a YouTube channel.
No.
The amount of time it takes to just get monetized, no. So this video isn't about side hustles to just make a little extra cash. If you want to do that, I don't know, maybe DoorDash or something. I don't know. I've never done it before. But if you're actually if you have a business and you're trying to market it, if you're consuming content online, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you're like, I want to bring some more finances into my household, but this isn't just something that for a few minutes and then I'm done. But you want to build something long-standing. You want to create, as they throw around the term, generational wealth for your family. It can be done online, especially if you spend a lot of time on your phone. Yeah. My thing is, either you're going to throw away your smartphone, get a dumb phone, and cleanse your mind from social media, or you're going to be on it. And if you're going to be on it, might as well make money from it. Might as well stop being just a consumer and be a producer. And the way social media is set up right now in 2026, you can do that. If you are a consumer in social media, then you can produce for social media and you can make money because there are plenty of consumers out there waiting for more content. Actually, it's not even the people waiting for more content. It's the platforms waiting for more content. All right. So let me break it down.
Content hungry.
Yeah, we are content hungry.
Yes.
It's what we need out there. All right. So let's talk about this. We've been on social media since forever. MySpace days, right? Yeah. Going all the way
MySpace
back.
is still incomplete. I was still working on I don't know, all those codes you had to put in.
Exactly.
I was still working on it before it kind of went out. So
Yeah.
man, I wish I can fix that.
But I remember when Instagram really got popular. And Instagram used to be better than it is now. I'm not a fan of Instagram today, but it is what it is. But here's the thing. You can't even complain about all the platforms because, again, they're the ones giving you a gateway to an audience. So I'll use Cozy as an example because I'm familiar with your channel and yarn and all that. So let's say you had some yarn, you wanted to sell it. There's multiple ways you can do that. You can go out into the marketplace. You can get yourself in stores and things like that. But the great thing about online is it's kind of created a pathway to get to the traditional brick and mortar as well, as you grow in popularity. And the funny thing is, whenever you see people going like Shark Tank, they'll be like, yeah, we got a lot of direct to consumer sales. We want to get into brick and mortar. But that's their pathway, where they started by getting to the audience. And social media provides a great way to get the audiences, no matter what it is that you're selling. If you have a business already in motion, great. If you don't, and you're just trying to figure this out, still great. You may be scared of the fact of I don't think I'm an influencer. Well, here's the thing. If you ever bought a product and you went and told your friend, your family member how great it was, if you ever bought a meal and you told them how great it was, you're an influencer. You're just more comfortable doing it with your friends and family. You don't mind influencing them and getting them to buy the meal that you just had that you loved, or the product that you just loved, or the TV show that you just watched. But you realize you are helping that producer of content or a product make money for free.
Yep.
No commission, no nothing. You're telling people, go buy this, go experience my experience, go watch this movie, and you're not being paid anything for it. That is free advertisement for them. And nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that they're doing something wrong by doing that, but understand that in 2026 with online, you can actually have someone pay you to do that instead of you just doing it for free. So you are an influencer. If you've ever recommended anything to anybody, you ever left an Amazon review, you are an influencer.
Let me just mention, I'm not going to say their name because if I say their name, who they are. But there's a particular influencer. He's big on TikTok and he just started talking about the food he loved. That's it. He went around to every restaurant that he loved, talked about it, gave it a rating. And now he's so blown up. He's walking the red carpets of major events right now. He now is putting on his own events that's costing thousands and thousands of dollars, being sponsored by big name companies and things like that. All started because he sat in a little kid's chair. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And started talking about the foods he loved. Now, he talks about the fact that he has social anxiety. He didn't like talking in front of people and so forth and so forth. But whatever made him do this is one moment in time. He stayed with it, not really knowing where it's going, but he said, I like this. And people started following. People started going to the restaurants that he was recommending and trying the combinations he was recommending. And now he is considered one of the biggest influencers. I believe he won an award or something not so long ago. Now, if I say his name, everyone knows who I'm talking about. He's not your typical, he's a regular person. Well, he was.
Yeah.
He was a regular person with regular issues and problems, young guy, and he just said, I'm going to talk about the food that I love. We can't influence the next person next to us. We just got to be unafraid and just do it one time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. You know what I'm saying? It's consistency that causes growth. And what we do is we look at people like him and think, oh man, he's so big. Look at all the followings. And it wasn't like that always. Then there was a moment in time when we didn't know who he was. We didn't know who he was. We don't know how long he was doing that before we knew who he was. But he kept showing up.
Exactly. And that's the key to success online. As people who have been online since 2018, I've developed something, I call it the authority method, but I've developed a method by which to grow rapidly. Because I'm interested in rapid results. It's not so much about viral. I want to hit and go viral. That can be dangerous. You go viral too fast because then you don't know what to do with it. You don't actually have a plan. You should have a plan first, and it's okay if it takes time, but I'm interested in rapid results. What I mean by that is I don't want to go 30 days posting. That's the secret of social. You got to post and nothing changes, or I can't even tell if it worked or not. See, here's the thing. It's a little scientific when you work with social media. It's like an experiment, right? And anybody who remembers, like, I don't know, 5th grade, 6th grade science, at least when I was growing up, they talked about how to do an experiment properly. You have an hypothesis. Then you got to do the test, and you got to have independent variables and dependent variables. You got to have your constant, and you got to have all these things, and you got to do it just right. But you got to repeat it, because you can't do it once, look at those results, and decide, oh, this is a law.
Yeah.
You got to repeat it. And so it's the same thing with social media. You got to have a hypothesis. I wonder if this type of content will resonate with people. But if you post it once and it flops, it doesn't get out of 300 view jail, it doesn't go viral, and you're like, oh, well, that doesn't work. And I would do that a lot. I'll post something, I had this great idea, spend a lot of work on a video, and then no one would watch it. And so I would imagine, oh, it doesn't work. Well, that's not how you test a hypothesis. You need to do about 10 to 300 more times. And that's where it gets daunting, because it's like, oh, this is too much. But what I figured out with the authority method is, one, it's doable. It does take time investment. This is not for someone who is lazy. It's not something that, you could just try it in and, it's again, this is for somebody who wants to do something different. You don't want to just work a 9 to 5 the rest of your life. You want to have independence and freedom. Okay. All right. So the whole content creation life is not just chill mode. There may be a point. There may be a point you reach a certain level of success, but what you're seeing is people who are enjoying what they're doing, and they're not working. They're just doing things they love.
Other people to do it for them.
And then they do get
There's
help.
no chill mode.
And things like that. So you want to get to a point like that. But first, you've got to put in some effort during those working 8 hours. You can still make it 8 hours. You can give yourself a schedule, but you got to put in some work. So with the authority method, what I realized was that it's a combination of two things. Consistency, right? And any social media guru will tell you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent, but you also got to have value. And that's where that part of the experiment, you got to repeat the experiment over and over again. We don't have enough value. If you're posting once a week, that's not enough value. It's not even just, and it is this, but it's not even just that people aren't seeing your content, because we got algorithms now. But it's that you don't even know what works yet. You can't post once a week and find out what your audience likes. You can't build an audience posting once a week. Okay. And back in the day, and we still think this way, social media used to be, I follow somebody because my friend followed and shared their content. I like it and I follow them. And my feed is built to people that I follow.
It's not that way.
That's not it. It hasn't been that way in a long time. We still think that way, but it hasn't been that way in a long time. Now, following is so on the least bottom rung of importance for social media distribution channels. And you got to learn how the social media platforms work. Don't hate them. Just understand how they work, because they are the distributor of your content. You are the manufacturer. Go into Walmart, look at all the products on the shelf. Some are Walmart's brand, great value, but most of the content, think of it like this, like content that's on the shelves, on the feeds of Walmart's aisles, are from somebody else, a producer, a manufacturer. Okay. So the manufacturer of that can of peas is you, the content creator. The can of peas is your content, your video, your post, your picture. All right. The shelves are the feeds. Okay. Why
use peas as an example?
I just can of peas. I'm trying to do something very mundane, but you've gotta think mundane for a second here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And Walmart is the social media platform, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Okay. So TikTok, YouTube is choosing what to put on the feeds, because the people walking into the store to go grocery shopping, those people are the consumers. Those are the users of the platform. All right. So you're focused on, I need to build my audience. I need to get to those users. You're never going to get to the users if you don't first get past the distributor, which is Walmart, which is TikTok, YouTube. That's your first customer. Before you can get to the customer walking into Walmart, before you can get to that user logging on to TikTok, you've got to deal first with the distributor.
That's good. Yeah.
Which is a social media platform. Yeah. Okay. Because you need them to put your product on the shelf. There's 1 million producers of cans of peas. Why are they going to put your can of peas on the shelf next to everybody else? Walk down the aisle and look at all different brands. Maybe there's 10 brands, but you think there's only 10 producers of cans of peas in the world?
No.
And people are fighting to be on that shelf space. People are fighting to end up on that feed. You get scared because there's billions of people or millions of people producing billions of pieces of content. You're like, I'll never make it. Well, you could make it just like somebody's can of peas got on that shelf. But you got to figure out, what is Walmart looking for to get me on their shelf, to put me in front of their users? What is TikTok looking for? And that's the key to the authority method. In order to find out what they're looking for, you need consistency, but you also need volume. We argue about quality versus quantity. Here's the truth. It's quantity first, because you need quantity to find out what quality is. You think you know what quality is, but you don't, because quality is based on your perception. Remember we talked about the filter principle in marriage, communication, like
absolutely.
the way we see the world.
Absolutely.
You see the world a certain way. You know what you like, but you don't know what the audience likes yet, because you never had anything in front of the audience, because you haven't gotten past the producer, the distributor yet. So in order to get to users, to find out what does my audience actually like, you need to put enough content out there, enough volume, enough quantity, so that you can actually learn what they like. Then when you learn what they like, that redefines what quality is to you. Mm-hmm. Quality to you might be crystal clear 4K video, perfectly dictated, speech with no errors, eye contact with the camera, bright colors. That might be what to you quality is. But is that quality to your audience? Because you're trying to make content for you, what you like, but you're not, your only consumer is you, but you want more than that. So you got to find out what quality actually is. So let me give you an example, because right now I'm just kind of talking in general. Let me give you an example of something that's quality that I didn't realize. When I was designing the authority method, I was putting out a lot of value, and I was explaining how much volume that is and how to do it. But I was putting out a lot of short form content, and I was testing what actually works well. What do people like? And I used to spend a lot of time on doing these cuts. I had CapCut at one time, so I would do all these transitions. I would put music and beats underneath, all this kind of stuff. I was doing all these different things. And through volume, I began to realize they don't care about the music. Sometimes it's actually distracting. People don't like the music. I like it, but it's not adding anything for them. So I cut out the music. That was quality to me, or was it quality to the audience? Then I realized the transitions, it wasn't that it didn't help, but for the amount of volume I was putting out, it was taking too long to produce.
Yeah.
So I had to find out, is this adding enough that is making a big enough difference, or is this impeding my growth because I can't get the volume out that I need to really test this? So I painfully got rid of all the extra transitions and the quick cuts and everything. And so, I kept the quick cuts. What I mean is, I didn't do like a bunch of flashy stuff going on the screen. And so I got down to the bare bones of the quality that my audience needed. They wanted the text on the screen, and they didn't care for B-roll too much, which is I would get B-roll from one of those sites like Pexels or something to try to demonstrate what it was I was saying. So if we're talking about a couple that's arguing, I would get a video of a couple that's arguing. It was nice, but I realized that wasn't making them stay for those first 3 seconds to keep watching, which is very important to every platform. They want to stay past those first 3 seconds with short form content. What I realized was what they wanted was text on the screen in those first 3 seconds that told them what the video was about. That was more important to them. To me, that's kind of, I won't say sloppy, but it's like, that's not really fancy looking, but they didn't care about that. Quality for them was not wasting their time.
Exactly.
And if they're swiping late at night or on their lunch break or while they're at work, they don't have a lot of time. So quality for them is, let me know that I'm interested in this immediately. So I have to help them. So I have to put on the screen what this video is about. How to stop arguing with your spouse. I also realized something that was funny was that for some reason, podcast mics still make people think you know what you're talking about. We know that's not true, but people will stay a split second longer if they see a microphone in front of your face, because they assume that implies production quality. That implies, I don't know, that you can afford a mic. That implies that you took the time and you're sitting down and this came from a long form podcast somewhere where you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about.
Well, it's like having doctor in front of your name, Dr. So-and-so, but you don't know what they have a doctorate in.
Nope.
You can get a doctorate in pretty much anything.
Yep.
You don't know what they're doctorate in, but just seeing the word doctor, we'll take a longer pause to hear what they have to say because we believe they've taken time to become an authority in what they're talking about.
Watch this. If there was somebody that was doing like health and medical content, nutrition, and let's say they were a doctor, or maybe they weren't, and they're sitting up there talking, someone would stay a little bit longer if they had on the doctor's coat.
Yep.
Even if they just had on something white that triggered the brain subliminally to think doctor, that'll make them stay just a split second longer.
A scrub, but any kind of scrub or nurses type of uniform, we will stay and watch because they look like they have an authority.
Exactly.
In what they're talking about.
Exactly. I'll do my codes. If she's making a video and she's talking to the camera, whatever like that, if she had a bunch of yarn behind her, that would immediately make someone stop. They're like, oh, this is yarn content. This is what I like. This is crocheting. You know, and so it's visual hooks like that. You hear the word hooks all the time on social media. So these are things I learned while developing the authority method.
I
And
hope y'all taking notes. This is some really hot stuff that you could be paying a lot of money to hear right now.
Yep.
And we're sharing it for free right now because we want to take the stigma out of earning income for your family. These are things you can do together as a couple. I know this is we're known for talking about marriage and couple stuff, but understand that this is something you can do together as a couple, and you can figure it out. It may not be your passion product that you want to do ultimately, but sometimes you got to start somewhere. And if you are a consumer, we're talking about if you are a consumer of content, most of us are big consumers of content. Why not have someone of your own that you can make money, passive income for your home, and let it build to something bigger? Again, most of the people that we watch, that we consume, they're talking about basic stuff. I mean, there are moms right now making bank just talking about the product they use every single day and that they love. And they figured it out. But they're on there all the time. They're like, look, I'm going to be watching TikTok, YouTube, Instagram all day anyway. Why not let me produce something? Let me be a voice. Let me be an authority on these platforms that I consume so much. And the same amount of time that it would have taken them to watch it, now they're on it. They're building on it. And that's the difference. If we're going to consume something, let it be. Let me be making something for it.
Exactly. And that's the difference there. But you gotta have that mindset. And listen, as I'm talking, I got lots of examples in my head, and I'm gonna show you where we're going to continue this conversation off of this live stream. If you're interested, if you want to join me there, I'm building a community for this. But be careful when you're looking at businesses or online social media platforms. As you listen to people like me give you advice, you'll immediately look at somebody big and be like, oh, well, they're not doing that. They're not posting a lot, or they're not doing all that you're talking about. Be careful looking at people who have already made it. Because there's a point you can get to where you can stop following these rules because you have momentum. You have your audience, you've got your sales, and you're not necessarily you're not pushing as hard to grow there. You've moved on into other avenues. And so be careful when you're looking at people who are already made it, because sometimes you'll look at somebody who's got 10 million followers and say, well, let me copy what they're doing. And you're wondering why it's not working because they've already grown. You're growing. And so momentum hasn't kicked in yet. You're trying to build momentum. And so the authority method is for someone who is small, but trying to rapidly build momentum and figure out what works. Again, you're not just trying to go viral. You're not worried about viral. Let go of viral. The point is, how do I build momentum quickly and learn what actually works? So my favorite platform right now is Facebook. Because when I started putting this method in about, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I realized that Facebook is the place to make money. And you don't have to have a business profile. You don't have to have a business. You can just have a regular profile, but Facebook will pay you to create content. Because again, what these social media platforms want is content. And they want content that keeps people on their platform. Facebook's competing against TikTok, right? So they want people, when they go on their phone, to open Facebook first instead of opening TikTok. Now, if you're smart, you'll be on both platforms. So it doesn't matter which one they open. But the idea is you're trying to make engaging enough content that someone doesn't swipe past what you've created. They stare at it and interact with it, but then they stay on the platform. A lot of times what we're trying to do is we have a business, so we're trying to get someone to interact with our posts and then immediately take them off platform to buy our product. That's not what the social media networks want. And if you do that with your every post, social media platforms will begin to bury you because you're not giving them what they want. They don't want the person to leave the store after they grab a can of peas. They want them to continue to shop in the store. So you've got to not only create content that gets them to interact and follow you and interact with you, but you've got to keep them on the platform. That's why following and subscribers is not as big a deal as it used to be.
It's not.
We're trying to get everybody to follow us, all this stuff. That's not important. What you have to trust, and it's hard to trust them, but you got to trust is that the companies, the distributors, to TikTok, to Facebook, to YouTube, they want people on the platform. So if Casey watches my video that I posted and stays through for 90% of the video, even if she doesn't follow me, subscribe to my video on YouTube, YouTube knows that she just watched 90% of that video. So when she swipes, she's going to see somebody else's video. When she swipes again, she's going to see my video again. This is what I know when I'm posting. I'm not super concerned about trying to get her to subscribe and saying, subscribe to my video in the short video I made. I just want her to stay engaged with it. I want her to leave a comment. I want her to like it. I want her to share it with somebody else. Because YouTube is going to send her more of my videos. Because YouTube knows when she interacts with Jalen's videos, she stays on the platform longer, which means we can serve her more ads. That is all they care about. So that's what you need to care about the most. Getting people to engage with your content as close to all the way through as they can. You want them to not swipe past you. You want them to stay and engage and share and like. And so you're going to create content that hooks them, but gets them to engage. Because if that happens, you both get what you want. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, they get someone that stays on their platform longer, and you get you get YouTube and these platforms pushing your content to that person again, and people like them. Because they're like, okay, if Casey, black woman, married, mom, likes Jalen's content, then we're going to go find all the other black women, married, moms, and send it to them as well, because they might like it too. That's how it works. They're marketing for you. Your job is to put out enough content consistently to find out what people are responding to. Then you nail down and say, okay, I'm going to cut the fluff. I'm going to put my feelings aside, and I'm going to create the content that the people are actually engaging with. And then that partnership with that platform, the platform is going to say, thank you for feeding us the content that works. We're going to send that out to more people.
And that's really hard for creatives to do.
Yeah.
Is to edit themselves.
Exactly.
It's so hard. You know, I want to say this, that you talked about followers are not, or followings is not as important as it used to be.
Yep.
I just relaunched my beauty page on Instagram, and no, Instagram is not that fun right now, but I find that having followers, a certain amount of followers now for platforms, unlocks certain features.
Yep.
From the platform.
Yep.
So you got to have a certain amount in order to be able to do lives, or you got to have a certain amount in order for it to have this feature unlocked unto you. And it's like, once you get to having all the features unlocked, then you pretty much can do whatever you want to do. I feel like platforms make you have those benchmarks of getting this amount of followers to kind of see if you're serious. Yeah. And it's going to make you work. Yeah. Because it's going to make you have to produce content so that you can get the following. Yeah. So follow you on any platform. Success with views, things like that, does lead to more followers. It just does. Not as hyperactively as we always want, but it does. And the reason why they lock features behind that is they want to see that you're invested. They don't want you to leave them hanging. Again, if I'm going to put your peas on the shelf, if people like them, at some point I'm going to hit you up with a purchase order and say, send me a million more cans. And if you shut down for business because it was just a hobby for you, oh no, I'm done now. I'm moving on to something else. Yep. Now I'm as Walmart left hanging. So you got to think about the pain points of the social media networks. They're looking for content, but they're looking for partners, people that can help them keep people on their platform. And so if you did some great video that went off, but then you switch up your whole style, you do something else, switch your niche and do something entirely different, then they're left hanging like, okay, well, this is going to work. So that's why they gatekeep or put barriers and say you need this many subscribers to join our partner program, or you need this many views in this amount of time, in 30 days, 90 days, you need rolling 1 million views, whatever, because they want to see consistency that you're not going to leave them hanging. Okay. But then they reward that consistency with, okay, here's a share of our ad revenue. We want you to keep doing this. So that's why follows are important. Plus, again, this whole authority method thing, the consumer still sees followers as a metric of success, or that you know what you're talking about. You know, that's why we tend to want more followers, because someone will listen to someone with 10,000 followers faster than someone with 500. However, thanks to the way these platforms are switching, it's a little easier now because one video can go viral because they can't see how many followers you got when they see you pop up in their feed. Now, they click off and find out, but right there, while they're enjoying the content, they don't know. Yeah. And so that's actually a bonus for you. So that's the way it works. So I'm going to drop this down, and if you have questions specifically, go ahead and drop them. It's a great time to ask questions. I'm dropping this link in the chat, and you can get all these links to the link in our bio if you're watching on TikTok, Instagram. And I'm starting a community for making money online
where I will teach you the authority method. I'll teach you what we're doing. And I'm going to show you some of our success in a few minutes of things that we've been doing for the past 90 days. I'll included in this will be social media profile reviews. I analyze your profile, look at what you're doing, and we'll grow together. We have goals, and in this community, I'll share with you what our goals are, what we're trying to do in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. And I want you to share your goals, and we're going to help each other get there. And one great thing about these science experiments is if you've got somebody more than one eyes on it, those people can look at it and be like, okay, check this analytic out. I'm going to show you how to analyze your analytics and see what works or what's not working. I'm going to show you analytics that you're not paying attention to. Because if you're just looking at, I'm going to show you how to analyze your analytics. I'm going to show you the analytics that you're not paying attention to. If all you're paying attention to is views, you're missing a big thing. If all you're paying attention to is followers, you're missing some big things. If all you're paying attention to is just shares, you're missing some big things. There are other things in your analytics that are more important to platforms, and they're shifting every day. I'm going to show you, okay, fastest way to get monetized. I'm going to show you why you were making some good revenue, RPMs, 1 month, and the next month to drop down, but you didn't do anything wrong. You know, I'm going to show you why you think you're shadow banned, but you're probably not. There's a lot I've learned, and I'm going to share this with you, and we're going to work together. We're going to grow together in this community. So I got to set it like $10 a month, but the link I just dropped is 50% off. So the first couple months will be like $5 a month. Join the community. Can I ask
a question?
Go ahead.
What if there's someone up here watching? It's like, I don't have a channel. I don't have nothing, but I have an idea. Can they join this? Like, would this be helpful to them? Like, to help them kind of like focus an idea or something?
100%. Yeah, you'll definitely learn a lot. And again, you don't have to have the attitude of, I got to be an influencer, because I'm telling you, you are already an influencer, but you just got to create content. And if you have an opinion and you consume, then you could be a content creator. Because again, I love Facebook right now. There are moms, stay-at-home moms, supplementing their household income, $5,000 a month. I'm looking at it. I'll share some of these people in the group, in the community. But all they're doing is posting their opinions, posting what they found at the thrift store. Sometimes they're using videos. A lot of them aren't. And that's what's crazy. I'm big on short form video. That's a big part of the authority method. But I've seen people who are just doing photos and text and making $1,000 on Facebook every month. And it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Facebook is very unique that way, but we'll break down the uniqueness of each social media platform. So the idea is that we'll meet once a month on Zoom, and we'll review each other's profiles. I'll look at what you're doing. We'll have ideas and goals we're going to set, and then in 30 days later, on the next month, we'll jump in and see what results we've gotten, because you're looking at experiments, right? And I'm going to show you how to analyze the experiments you're making. So if you want someone to keep you accountable, to keep you consistent, and what I'll probably do is also make like either a Facebook group or a Discord so we can keep up with each other throughout the month. But on those Zoom calls, that's where we'll review profiles and go in and come up with new ideas, content strategies, all that stuff. So if you want accountability, you want camaraderie so that you don't get bored on your own, you don't get discouraged. You got questions, you want to get them answered, and you think that 2 heads are better than one or multiple heads are better than one, then the community is for you. And if you want actual knowledge, because I'll be on the front lines actually succeeding in getting the knowledge and saying, look, I've been brute forcing this thing. This is what's working now. This is what's not working. I can try something and then 2 weeks later be like, nope, that doesn't work. Stop doing that. Let's shift to this. And I can do the heavy lifting on that and show it to you. So I encourage you to join the community. So the 50% off I got is $5 a month. Join into the community. We'll meet on Zoom once a month. And then, like I said, I'm probably just going to make a group once there's enough of us where we can all have a group chat together. And the first meeting will be March 30th. That's a Monday at 7 p.m. So it'll always be generally the last Monday of each month. So the first one will be March 30th. Sign up, get in the community. We're going to meet on Zoom, and we're going to talk for about an hour. It'll probably go longer than that. And I will teach you strategies I've learned. I'll show you examples of what's working, what's not working, the changes, because what's working in March is going to switch up in April. When I say what's working, it's not so much that you got to do something brand new, but it's just the trends. And I'm also going to help you rescue from having to do the trends. You're like, I don't want to get on TikTok and put a trending sound and do a dance. I don't want to do the Dougie in order to get people to buy my product. You don't have to. I'm going to show you what works for you, and it's going to be centered around you. Not saying you don't have to get out of your comfort zone. You probably will, but I'm going to show you something that's like, you don't have to do something ridiculous. You don't have to try to get into sensationalism. But I'm going to show you. But
I will say this, a lot of people are scared of the internet.
Yeah.
They're scared of social media. They're scared of what the economy is doing. And especially if you are on the older end of things, and
Yeah.
I would say an elder millennial. An elder millennial. You may find yourself feeling like, man, this is kind of growing beyond me, and this is not for me. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, the world has changed a lot. We've already seen this. The world has changed a lot. Our economy has changed a lot, and I'm not talking about this inflation and stuff like that. That's been going on since the beginning of time. But the way we move about in life has changed a lot. We saw 2020, the whole world can literally shut down your job and you're stuck out back.
Yep.
All right. And then they're going to determine the value of your life and give you a little paycheck to say, go buy some bread and eggs that cost $20.
Yep.
So what we want to do now that we've learned something from all of that, we want to take the control of our own lives, of our income, and how we can make it. Okay. There's coming a time where I believe that traditional jobs, I mean, it's already changed a lot. Traditional jobs aren't the way they used to be. All right. But we are changing that. And our children's children, I don't believe they're going to have traditional jobs like we grew up with having.
Yeah.
It's good to know this information. Always have this stuff in your back pocket. Be savvy. I'm an advocate of learning something new all the time. No matter how old you are, you can learn something new. It's not difficult. You just don't know what to do.
That's right.
That's my motto. You just don't know. You just don't know how to do it. We're here to help you. My husband mainly is here to help you learn how to overcome, to have victory in your social media, on your social media platforms. And one thing that I'm learning throughout this process, that every social media platform isn't for everyone. You may discover that YouTube is your place. That's your home. That's where you thrive the most. Facebook might be your home. That's where you thrive the place. And I found that Facebook used to be kind of like, it's old people's news. Like, it's kind of gone. But Facebook is doing something new now. And it's like Facebook is trying to become, or I would say Meta, they're trying to become the face again.
Cozy, are you active on Facebook? Do you have a successful Facebook profile? I know you got a good community on TikTok and YouTube, but where are you at Facebook, Cozy? I'm just curious.
And so, we're going to help you discover what platform works for you. I've been off of social media outside of, what we do here together for a little while. And now I'm trying to re-engage. And things have changed in the last couple of years. Like Instagram has changed a lot. Not my favorite space. I love TikTok. I'm about to get on YouTube personally. Go follow my page, Beauty by Casey. I'm going to put my shameless plug out there. I'm on Instagram, Beauty by Casey. In the beauty space again, go follow me. But nonetheless, I'm having to learn. I'm having to do this authority method. I'm trying to hire my husband, but he's busy with Jalen Casey and all the other stuff that we got going on. But so I'm having to learn like you guys learn. I'm learning this just like you all are learning. So this is definitely going to be a real community. We'll be growing together. So I hope you guys consider joining. Tell your friends about it. If they're on social media and they're trying to grow, like it could be kind of scary when you feel like stuff is just not working.
Oh, goodness. Cozy say, I don't even try over on Facebook. Cozy,
oh my God,
I guarantee your biggest audience is on Facebook.
Probably.
And because I didn't realize our biggest audience was on Facebook. And I'm going to now show you some stats because it's great to talk about these things, but show me that it actually works. Let me see some stats. So I'm going to show you guys some stats. All right. So let me transition over here. And then let me do this so I can actually see it. I'm gonna take it out of studio mode. There we go. All right. And I did not pick November because it didn't go back that far, but I just went ahead and customized it. But this is December of last year, 2025. You see 252,000 views. Okay. You see $62.78 in earnings. All right. And I really should have grabbed November. I'm gonna read November to you. November was 96,000 views and $15. November was when I first started messing around with what I now call the authority method. I was figuring it out. And so you see that we more than doubled. We almost did 3x from November to December because November was 90-some thousand. Look at 252,000 right here on screen with December. All right. And that's what, 4 times the revenue as well. All right. So that was just November to December. Okay. Now let's look at January. Let me grab this thing here. Okay. This was the jump. All right. So we went from December 250, so $250,000 views to January, 1.3 million. All right. So what is that? Over 4 times, maybe almost 4 times as much on views. And then you see the approximate earnings there was $300. So I mean, look at the percentages: 452% up, 396% up on that. All right. So what's happening here? The authority method. It's working. All right. December was the first almost full month of me doing it. And so January was like month 2 of going for it. So like going to 30, 60 days. And that's where we got. All right. And this is all Facebook that I'm looking at right now. These stats on Facebook. I'll show you YouTube in a second. All right. And this is me using the authority method. So I had figured out the balance between consistency and volume and putting it together to actually get rapid results. Okay. Because again, I wasn't caring about going viral. I just wanted to do something, run an experiment, get results fast enough to know what was working. Mm-hmm. And so it took about 60 days to figure out what was working. And that's how fast it went. Now, watch what happens in February. It's interesting. February, we go up to 2.7 million views. All right. Shorter jump, 98%. But get this, the revenue is down by 10%. All right. It's not bad revenue at all, but what happened there? All right. So 2 things. Number 1, and something you'll learn if you join the community, is the cycles of advertising revenue. Q4, quarter 4, the fourth quarter, is the highest revenue you can make with ad revenue, content monetization on any platform, because the advertisers are pouring money in because of holiday season. Q1 is the absolute worst. You will make the least amount of ad revenue, and sometimes for some people, even sales, in the first 3 months of the year. So December would have been the absolute best. January has some layover, but as soon as February kicked in or halfway through February, everyone's RPMs dropped. Advertisers actually paying less per ad spot than they were in Q4 and even in the beginning part of January. So even though I had more views, I had less revenue there. Okay. It's also an element with Facebook of engagement. Sometimes you get more views, but not as much engagement. Wasn't so much the issue here, but those are 2 reasons. The other thing with Facebook is Facebook does these bonuses where if you do so many views, then you get an extra bonus of $100, $50. Or if you if you make this much money in monetization, then we'll give you an extra $100 bonus, something like that. Because they're trying to get you to come away from YouTube and come on their platform. Or really TikTok is who they're competing with. So they've been doing that. I don't know how long they'll do this bonus thing. I wouldn't depend on it. But for however long they're doing it, a lot of people are making money on bonuses. We had made some in January because we had a couple of videos really take off and we skyrocketed past those goals. In February, they raised the threshold of what it takes to hit those goals. And so we didn't get bonuses in February because let's say it was get 10,000 views and then we'll throw you $50. Then they said, okay, you guys went viral. All right, 100,000 views, we get $50. Okay, now we got to build up to that. So we didn't make it in February, and that's why that went down. But that's what's happening on Facebook after 60 days of doing the authority method. So how would you, like after 60 days, if you're not making much money at revenue, to actually maybe do like 300% more on revenue? You know, how would you like an extra $300 a month?
She said Instagram posts my reels to Facebook automatically. Before I knew it, I had 500 followers and got monetized. There you go. She said I have $1 LOL. 28 days ago, 28 days, I got 103,000 views, just posting 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay, so that's what Cozy meant when she said that she doesn't even try on Facebook. Now that she's not on Facebook, she's saying she doesn't even try and she's getting good. Exactly. So good. Okay, you're doing good.
But what if you try?
Well, that too, right? What if you tried? How much money would you make? Exactly.
And that's with 2 to 3 times posting a week.
Oh, good Lord. Girl. Yeah, join the community, girl. I'm going to show you what to do. Yeah, you're gonna retire your husband. Your husband gonna be home like, he gonna be buying you yard like, look, make a video right now. You have your kids in the sweatshop, make a yard with you. Go. That's 2 times a week? Come on now. Yeah, you need to join the community, Cozy. All right. Now I'm gonna show you YouTube. YouTube's interesting. All right. And you're not gonna really understand YouTube unless you join the community, because I'm gonna deep dive into it with y'all. But our situation is very unique because we get a lot of revenue from like super chats and channel memberships, things like that. So ours is very different from maybe a channel that doesn't do that. And we have, I won't say competing content, but YouTube has this thing where it's like you focus on shorts or you focus on videos, you focus on lives or live streams. You can do all 3 or you could do 2 out of 3. But sometimes the jury's still out on this. The question is YouTube hurting you if you're doing both at the same time? I don't think it's hurting you, but I do think you can take off faster if you just focus on one. Okay. And
I
so
love YouTube, but I think YouTube's a little bit sharky.
well, it is what it is, but I also love YouTube because I have my ups and downs with YouTube. I'll talk about all this in the community. But anyway, all right, so we've got February here for YouTube. I'm going to show you February and March, even though we're in March. So February, that bottom left thing, the views, where it says views in February, shorts views were 80.5 thousand, okay? And that was most of our views, and you see videos and live views down there. But look at that number for the shorts, 80,000, all right? Now let's go to March real quick. We're only... And this was, if you look at the top, it was March 1st through 9th. So we're only 9 days into March when this came. Go back down here to shorts where it says views under March, bottom left corner, and it's 41,000. All right, so we're at 80,000 in February for the full month. It's 28 days. But then we're looking at 41,000 only 9 days in. So we're not even halfway into the month, and we're already going past that halfway mark with our views. All right, which means we're going to end up at the end of March way up over those 80,000. So what did you change, Jalen, from February to March? I changed my volume. What you'll learn is the intricacies of each platform. Facebook requires a little less volume, and Cozy, you just kind of proved it, to get success fast. YouTube requires a whole lot more. Yeah, remember, YouTube is the granddaddy of all video content. Like, as much as we love TikTok, YouTube was the original. So YouTube's probably got more creators on it. Yeah. So it takes a little bit more volume to start breaking out. It's not that it's difficult, but it's going to take a little bit more volume. And the key here is when it comes to figuring out how much volume it's going to take and things like that, it could differ for different types of content, but you got to find out what it is for each platform. And I got to see your content to see what it is, because you also got to figure out how am I going to produce enough content. You got to get smart. You got to figure out strategy, because you still have a life. You're still a mom. You're still a dad. You still got 9 to 5. You're still trying to figure it out. You want the freedom, but right now you're doing this on the side, trying to build to that freedom. So the question is, how do I make use of my time to do it? And I'm going to talk to you about how to do that. So those are the things I'm teaching in the community. If you're watching on Instagram, on TikTok, go to the link in our bio in order to join up with the community. Like I said, it's 50% off, $5 a month for the first 2 months. Join the community. I'm going to look at your profiles, review it, show you how to look at your analytics, and I don't want to say blow up fast, but rapidly increase, rapidly get results. If you can't get results quickly, then we're doing something wrong. But you should be able to get some manner of results quickly. So if you're not monetized, want to get monetized, fastest way to do that. If you are monetized, fastest way to actually turn it up. So someone like Cozy, you are monetized, there's ways to turn that around. In about 30 days, you can make $100 a month. It would not be difficult at all.
I'm looking at her YouTube now.
Yeah.
Looking at her views.
She's actually very good on YouTube. She does very good with her long form videos, with her content and everything. She's got a very active community. And you see what you got to understand. Some niches, how you want to say it, are more active than others. Some of them lend to community better than others.
Exactly.
It does. The niche that we're in with marriage, I don't think it's a huge community niche.
No.
It's good if you hit the right topics. It's good for like hot button topics and getting like viral reactions, things like that, if you touch on those topics correctly. But it's not a huge community one. People like to drop their opinions and move on because they think they already know what they're doing. So trying to build a community isn't necessarily the fastest thing to do with our niche. Something like Cozy's niche, I think, lends toward community very well, because it's a niche about helping each other, growing together, learning our skills, sharing knowledge.
It's a learned skill.
Yeah.
That's something that people like to do.
But it may not be a huge hot button topic, viral thing. However, here's the thing about being viral. If there's 10 million people that like to do what you do as a hobby, that's 10 million people. That's a lot. You can live a whole business, your whole life on 10 million people. Like you can do it. So you don't need to have a highly populated niche to be able to make an income from. You just got to know what your expectations are and what to lean into. Mm-hmm. And these are all things you need to figure out, because you're comparing yourself to somebody who does man on the street, viral content, and you're like, I want to grow like them. Okay, but that's different. That you can't be successful. It's just you got to set your expectations of what you're trying to achieve and what do you actually want. All right, so that's pretty much my spiel there. So join the community. It's in the chat or in the link in our bio. Join up, $5 a month. I'd love to see you there. We can grow together. I'll show you what our goals are. So you saw what we did a couple months ago, and it's like, okay, well, where are you guys going? I can tell you right now, there's a certain dollar value goal, or actively marching towards it and figuring out how to get there. And I want to help you do the same with your content.
I think sometimes, again, we don't understand how to read the charts
Yeah.
and the percentages, because we see, oh, well, that's not $100,000. That's not 10,000. I thought I was going to see. You gotta understand something. You can see the progression of growth from having zero to $300-$400 extra a month. Like, wow.
Yep.
That's more than I had yesterday. Like, that's growth. That's a jump. That's a good percentage. Now, if I'm consistent, again, consistency. It's like when we try to lose weight, y'all. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. We lose weight. We lose that first 10 pounds and we're excited. Oh my gosh, we're excited. And then we might lose 15, 20 pounds. And then we get so excited, we get comfortable, and we're like, oh, okay, now I can take a break. Now I can go and just eat the cheat meals. I can do all the things. We stop pushing forward. We have to understand that the same drive you had when you first started this weight loss, it's the same you got to have when it's in the middle. You know, it seems to get a little bit tougher sometimes in the middle, but we've seen some success, so we kind of lay back on the push. Nope, that's when you got to push even more, because if you continue, you're going to see yourself get to the ultimate goal of what you want, that 50 pounds, 100 pounds, however much weight you need to lose, we will get there. But the reason why we gain it all back or we stop progressing is because we see the little bit that we've done, we either going to say it's not enough, I thought it was going to be more, or we get too excited and think that's behind the moon, and then we fall back on our consistency. So whatever you find yourself at, it all takes consistency and understanding, learning how to read the metrics and learning how to understand your chart of your rate of growth. Basically.
Yeah. And that's why I think one of the best things coming out of this group is consistency. Because a lot of you need consistency. Because if you're doing it alone and nobody you knows creates content, you have nobody to talk to about your wins or about your frustrations or something seems to not be working. TikTok will frustrate the mess out of you. One day everything's working and one day you post a video and you got one view for the whole day. It's like, what's going on? So you need someone to talk to, like, have you noticed this? Excuse me. What's happening? Is this a shared glitch? You need a community. And that's what I wanted to build. People who actually look at your stuff and say, this was working, this is what's not. Why did this work? Why didn't this work? Why did this flop? Why did it succeed? All of that. You want to do all that together. So that's what I want to do in this community, and it'll build over time. And so I'll probably do like a video like this. We'll probably do one like this once a month, because those numbers every month that we'll show them will be bigger. And then more people will be like, oh, I want to join up. I want to get involved. I want to get those results. But you can get in now. While I'm doing the 50% off thing. And it'll be fun, because by the end of this year, here's what's going to happen. It takes 90 days of doing the authority method to know exactly what you should be doing and to know that I'm getting active results. I'm making hundreds of dollars a month. This is what's going to work, okay? At least with Facebook. It takes 90 days to figure it out. So if there's 4 90 days in a year, by the end of the year, you have supplemented your income. I'm not promising you can go full time. Maybe you can. Depends on you. But you have supplemented your income over the course of 12 months. And ask yourself, would I like that I can pay my rent, my mortgage, outside of my 9-to-5 income by this time next year? Do I want to be able to pay for my kids' education by this time next year?
Have a savings goal. For some, the money you make off of your social platforms might just be your savings.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's a good chunk of savings every month.
Yeah, down payment on a house.
Yeah.
You have goals, and it's like, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And this could be it. And yes, it could very well be a full-time thing. I'm seeing stay-at-home moms with just 250,000 followers on Facebook, which isn't a lot, and it'll make it like $10,000 a month. And it's like, what? Why is this happening? And the big scary thing with social media, people are like, well, social media, you can't trust them. They could ban your account. It could be gone immediately.
Have more than one.
It could change. Yeah, social media can change, right? It can definitely change. But it's kind of like when people invest in something, whether it was back when the internet was big, before Amazon was big, before Netflix was big. There was always a point where you could have got in and built some wealth while it was happening. There may come a day when all this goes away. But while it's here, take advantage of it and build your business. And build a skill set that you can use in other areas as well.
I think it's knowing how to pivot.
Yeah.
And knowing when to pivot. How many of us remember when Amazon was just about books?
Yep, I don't.
I mean, Amazon was just books. Mm-hmm. That's all they did. They sold books. And then now they've shut down so many brick and mortar stores. Mm-hmm. They have. They're single-handedly responsible for shutting down a lot of brick and mortar stores today. I don't know. maybe I need to sit down and talk to the owners. You know, what was driving it?
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, what caused you? But anyway, whatever their plans was, I don't know how to even start at Amazon. Like, why? Maybe they love
It was a
books.
bookstore. Yeah.
They love books. They wanted to read books. They wanted to share books. And it just began to grow. But they had to be consistent somewhere, and they had to have a vision and a plan and an idea, and they execute it. And they also had to be watchful as to what's happening in the world.
Yep.
They saw an opportunity to jump in on something, and they did.
Yep.
But if they were never in the space, they would have never heard or seen. If it was just an idea on paper and they never executed, they would never been in the space to see that, you know, this is an opportunity to jump in and create a platform by which you can buy in and everything from food to toilet paper. Like, we can buy everything from Amazon. We don't ever have to leave our house to buy anything. Amazon will bring it to your house.
Yep.
Like, that's amazing. Some may not like that. You know, like I said, a lot of brick and mortar stores don't like Amazon. I get it, but Amazon is not going anywhere anytime soon.
And you mentioned that they put up you out of business. What put them out of business was they didn't pivot too.
Exactly.
And so what I wanted you to pay attention to is be prepared to pivot into social media. It's not too late. You can still get in. And it's a better time than ever because everyone has standardized on short form content. Social media used to be very divided. Everyone had a different style. So if you were trying to go to market with all the different platforms, you had to say, all right, I got to make a video here. I got to make a picture here. But now everybody said, let's all do 16 by 9, 9 by 16 short form video, and everybody's go standardize. That makes it so much easier for you. You just got to turn that camera on, and I'll help you with that as well. So get in now. Because if anything that we learned from 2020 and onward is that your 9-to-5 job isn't stable. There's lots of things that used to be like, this is the only way to build wealth. This is stable. Don't do all the weird stuff. Well, there used to be pensions. When I got into the workforce, pensions were gone. It didn't exist. So you had 401ks, all right? And then houses were good, but then the housing market crashed in 2008. And then, okay, jobs are jobs. But then 2020 happened, and you had people literally telling you cannot go to work. People were literally unemployed, and it wasn't their fault. So nothing is stable. Nothing is steady. And Psalm 112 talks about the guy who is, no matter what the bad news is, his heart is steadfast. Why? Because he trusts in God. And God is maneuvering him. And sometimes God's trying to maneuver you into something and you're resistant because it seems strange or different. And this works for anybody. You know, we had Mighty Spirit comment talking about doing evangelism. If you are a ministry and you do preaching on social media, this method works for what you're doing too.
Yeah.
And you will build audience. If you're someone who receives donations because you're a nonprofit, this works for that too. The authority method works for that too. It doesn't matter what you're on to do. This will work for you. So here's what a webpage looks like. If you click the link, it's very easy. Click it, join up, $5 a month for the first 2 months. Make money online. Get my picture up there looking fancy. Easy. So join in. I'd love to see you there. We'll hop on Zoom once a month and we'll have a chat throughout the month and we'll help each other out. And I'll teach you everything I know. We can grow together. So by the end of this year, some of us will be full-time, some of us will be supplementing income, but we'll all be a lot happier about what we're doing. And that wasting time. Yeah, exactly, right? Have a good Christmas at least. But you're going to be happy with the time you spend on social media. You're not wasting time, you're investing your time. So that's what I want for everybody. So that's why we made the live today. That's what we want to talk about.
Yeah, this was very different for us. I know you're like, well, this is not about relationship. Yes, it is. You know why? Because money may not be the root of happiness, but it can definitely lend to it when you have what you need. And, you know, we're not selling you money. Look, God, He is the blessing. God is the source of the blessing. The blessing is what causes us to gain wealth, okay? But the Bible also talks about your hands should not be slack. You know, keep your hands to the plow. God is a promoter of work. You got to put your hands to the work. You just got to be doing what God told you to do, when and how. So we're just promoting a way that you can maximize where you are. Since we all are on social media in some shape, form, or fashion, you might as well maximize.
That's right.
While you're there.
Yep.
Like I said, I am growing my YouTube business, my Instagram, getting back into the beauty world and becoming an influencer in that space. I'm learning this method as well. I'm starting from scratch. So it'd be interesting to grow together and to see the success as we all apply these methods and things like that, along with the blessing. There are gonna be some of us that may not blow up the same way, and that's okay. It's a learning experience. You know, you're gonna figure it out and understand that algorithms are fickle. They're up and down every single day. But I believe in the blessing, and the blessing can take us further than what an algorithm could
Yep.
ever do.
Exactly.
And sometimes the Lord will ask you to do things that are not popular. You don't see nobody else doing it this way. I know that is for us. You know, we got on here not knowing much. We knew, some stuff because we had past experience. But the Lord began to teach us things that we didn't see no one else doing. Talking about things that nobody was talking about.
That's right.
And we did it. And then all of a sudden it seems like, oh, wait, so-and-so doing that too. So-and-so is doing that too. Like, you're not alone anymore.
That's right.
But what if you didn't start it? What if you didn't do it? You know, I can talk about myself. You know, I'm a makeup artist by trade. And people ask me, well, where's your training come from? I'm a self-taught artist. Now, I eventually went on and got some certifications and learned from pros and stuff like that. But when in the beginning stages, I said, Lord, teach me how to do this. I love this. I want to learn. And he would teach me techniques and teach me things to do. And then I will hook up with a pro that's been doing this for years and find out that it's an actual thing. It's an actual, what? I didn't know. But God taught me first.
Yep.
Like God will teach you. The Holy Spirit knows everything. So if you have a business idea, if you want to start social media and you just been kind of scared, nervous about, this is going to help if you join up with the authority method. But don't be afraid to try. None of us are quote unquote experts. And I say that I believe we are, but things are always changing.
Yeah, that's the thing. You gotta stay on top of everything.
Exactly. So what worked yesterday may not work today. So it's always changing, but you can't be afraid to get out there and learn a new skill. And this is definitely a new skill.
Exactly.
Every day is kind of a new skill, honestly.
Amen. All right. So I think it covers the content. I guess we can actually do fun stuff now. We didn't do that Monday. Let me check and make sure.
I don't know. I think it's kind of weird now to jump back to
relationship based stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you probably just end the live early today if you want.
We could. I just want to leave the chat open for anybody who's still here to say, again, what do you do? What do you want to do? Where does it that you see yourself growing? What do you see yourself 5-10 years? What do you want for your family and everything? Because I'm interested in knowing everyone's goals and your dreams. Because that's the other part of what we do here. Because yes, we talk about marriage all the time. But if you listen to why we talk about marriage, it's because marriage is God's vehicle for expansion.
Exactly.
So we believe that you're married for a purpose. So the goal, the reasoning for having good communication, good intimacy, good trust, all that is so that y'all can build something together. And so we want you to go out and build something, whatever it is. It may be a ministry. It may just be your household. But we want you to build something that lasts for generations, leave a legacy that matters for the glory of the kingdom of God. And that's what we want to help you to do. So we might see more content from us that doesn't explicitly teach about relationships, but kind of touches on those things about leaving a legacy. Those things matter.
And I want to talk about burnout for a little bit because content creators are always talking about burnout. Because a lot of content creators are doing it from the angle of the toil system.
Yep.
That we talk about a lot here as well. If you're doing it just for the money, if it's I want money, you're going to have cracks in your foundation. You're going to sell out somewhere. You're going to start doing some weird, crazy stuff, and that's going to burn you out.
Yep.
It's going to burn you out. I don't know. God might tell us to stop posting so many times a day. I don't know. You got to follow God. Burnout comes when you're not operating in the blessing. Burnout happens when you're not seeing progress.
Yep.
And you're doing it for so long and you're not seeing the progress you think you ought to be seeing, we burn out. And just like in marriage, we can burn out in our relationships because we've been in it for so long and we're not happy. We're not fulfilled. We're not progressing. We're not growing. Well, please understand that there's something that you're not doing or you're doing it wrong. Okay? It's like baking bread or something. Well, my bread don't rise. Well, it's something you're doing wrong because everybody else's bread is rising. Yours should be rising too. It's something that you're doing wrong. Don't give up on bread making because yours not rising. Figure it out. A lot of people just don't have the tenacity to want to figure it out.
Amen.
For us, our marriage is succeeding. It's because we wanted to figure it out. We wanted our marriage, and we wanted to figure it out. So God led us, and He guided us to the resources to help us figure it out. And now we're here helping other people figure it out. See, that's progression. That's progress. Now people can eat from the fruit that we have gained through our pursuit of having a happy marriage.
That's right.
And that's what can happen if you decide to go into business for yourself. You're planting a seed now that can grow a lot of fruit that you can benefit from, your children's children can benefit from, other people watching you can benefit from. Who knows? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But you would never know until you try. We never would know what that one talent guy would have become.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because he got cast out for being wicked and being disobedient. We would
right.
never know now what his potential was what his potential was.
Yeah.
Because he disobeyed.
See, the worst thing isn't trying and failing. The worst thing is never trying at all.
Exactly.
What God called wicked was a lack of progression.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't progress at all. You know, the 2-talent guy only got 2 talents, but he gave him the same reward as the guy 5 talents. He said, good and faithful servant, into the glory of your Lord. He didn't get a less accolade because he produced a little less. He got 100% increase, 2 on 2, got a 5 on 5. But the one who didn't move, and here's what the master said to him. He said, you could have at least gotten interest on what I gave you. Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't even have been a doubling of what he had. But interest, he's like, you should have moved. You should have progressed. You should have done something. And sometimes we're looking to figure out what's the perfect move that we don't move at all. And we're analyzing, trying to figure it out, and we're paralyzed because we just won't move. Mm-hmm. And it's like, there's millions of opportunities every single day. Make a move. You watching this video is you making a move. Like, make a move. Knock on a door. Make that phone call. Post that post. Make a move. Figure it out. And you'll grow. You'll be blessed in the doing of it. So, yeah, I think that's it for today. Yeah, I think so.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
That's good stuff. So we hope you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. All the links are in the chat. Go ahead and get your 30 days free of Audible. Join the channel memberships if you are interested in the training we got for building your marriage plan later on this month. And join the community for making money online, $5 a month. That link is in the chat as well. Or, of course, in the link in our bio on all of our platforms. Just go find our bio, find the profile, click that link. All the links are there. But we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. And we'll see you on Friday for Inside the Conversation.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We're going to be on Inside the Conversation and we'll be back Monday for another episode of the Jay and Casey Show. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.